Mhm. You know, I'm going to want copies of both Disillusions of Marriage. Mhm. And if I find out that Heidi Lee Budnick got a copy, yes. And Heidi Lee Budner, yes. I'm going to sue you for the fraud and the forgery of issuing two dissolutions of marriage that are different. Now, I'm wanting to have the custody of my sons that you took from me. Yeah. And I want to reside in a hotel. Yes. And I want them to contact me. Yes. Now, I would think that this state right and the United States it's really starting to affect them. Oops. Because I will actually sue each and every oath of office. Oh. And then there's that Marilyn Van Proyen where Susan Bowers was a look-alike. Yes. And Mike Van Proyen, that abusive husband that got court notices. If you issued two dissolutions of marriage and the last known address was 1023 Kitchen Dick Road, did you ever send me any notices that I owe child support to that address? Yes. Could you go through both of the dissolutions of marriage? Excuse me. Yes. And I'd just like to know, did the state of Washington, yes, use that address as the mailing address as the last known address? Or Mike sat there for the last 6.5 years laughing his fucking ass off that I was getting double the amount of notices for the child support owed when he did know I didn't reside there. Now, that good Mr. Pastor, I'm going to sue him right now. I tell you, I am going to make sure that Mike Van Proyen goes to prison. Now, I'm going to want to speak to Marilyn about what knowledge she has, yes, of this state sending any notices from the state of Washington to 1023 Kitchen Dick Road. Because as I see it, yes, when you issued a warrants for my arrest, yeah, you sent it to 1023 Kitchen Dick Road. Poop. When you issued two dissolutions of marriage without me getting any notice, yes, and without you having the duty to inform me of the conditions of the dissolution of marriage, yes, you probably sent all the notices for child support and any notices from the state. Oh, to 1023 Kitchen Dick Road so that Mike Van Proyn would have known that there's two dissolutions of marriage. And then I would have been really pissed off when I found out. Now I'm going to want to speak to her because when you use a look-alike as my biological sister, Susan Bowers, that thought I was going, no, and when you issue two dissolutions of marriage where the last known address was 1023 Kitchen Dick Road, and then you sent notices that I was in arrears, yes, of child support, yes. And then I would have gotten the notices eventually, and then you would have said I was crazy, right? Then you would have put me in a mental institution and you would administer involuntarily psychotropic medication against my will because you thought that I was mentally ill or mentally defective, yes, for telling you that these notices are not the same. Now, let's say I went to sue in this state and every state, pooch, for obstructing my right to speak to Marilyn Van Proyen. Yes, because Mike informed me in 2013 that if I ever contact her, or Mike Van Proyen, he would contact the sheriff's department. So why don't you give me the address, the mailing address of each of the dissolutions of marriage? Did you send one to my grandmother? Oh, did you send the notices of the child support and anything else from the state to my mother, my biological mother that's going to prison? Pooch. Did you send any documented notices to the last known address as 1023 Kitchen Dick Road? Poop. Now, we're back to suing Foursquare. Yes. We're back to suing Rotary. We're back to suing Northwest University. Now, I know Mike got his master's degree from an Assembly of God seminary. Yes. When I was at their house, we were having dinner, and Mike was telling me how important it was that he got educated as a pastor. Now we're suing the assemblies. Poop! For, well, I am big on suing Christianity. Like now. Now, the state, yes, known as the government, yes. has allowed for the abuse of the state system in getting reference numbers for dissolutions of marriage so that that corrupt, fraudulent pastor, yes, could continue to abuse his family and his non-biological children. I'm not talking adoption, I'm talking genetics. It's because they just did not want me suing them. Pooh. Now, this is a locomotive. Yes, it is. And this is something that I was very concerned of. Yes. Now, these locomotives, yes, they used to have what was known as steam engines. Oh, and I thought we were going back to the way of the steam engine. Yes. Now maybe we should take it back here to the Stourbridge line, a steam engine in 1829. You know, with an HHO generator and that right there, yes, I could get that steam up to about 4,500 degrees. Poop! If you wanted to see a locomotive go right now, now let's say you get me the ownership of every railroad in the United States. Yes. Now, not only the electrical systems, because we have some diesel electric locomotives. Yes. And then look at this is an electric locomotive. This is a steam locomotive. You know, I had mentioned my want to get all the actual railroad ties and railroad rails. Yep. Wanted to change the whole thing. I think it's somewhat redundant. Yes. Well, John Snow, former Secretary of the United States Treasury. Oh, Treasurer. Oh, you were the treasurer, not the secretary. I think you were the secretary. Pooch. Could you get the actual ownership of every railroad everywhere in the world? All the employees, all the I-9s, and all the retirements? Yes. GPS the location 20 miles down, get me IP addresses, get me their keyboards, and get me the key to every train right now. Pooch. Now, somebody, okay, said we're not going the way of the hovering mass transit system. I'm going to need the 5G throughout all locomotive stations. Yes. The communication system of the railroads. Yes. And then I'm going to want to take all the old railroad ties. Yes. And then I'm going to clean them off using steam. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm going to turn that wood into furniture, hardwood furniture for those that want to buy some new furniture. Now, quite often when Warren, yes, says that General Electric doesn't want to change what they've been doing, these locomotives are very heavy. Now, this dynamic brake cooling system, and there's a big diesel engine right there. Yeah. What if I put a little hovering right there? Yeah. And a little Waldorf? Yes. Salt fusion. Now, I thought I was buying 200 of the smallest railroads in the United States of America because he's like this stuff.